Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 81st episode of the HSBG Podcast. I'm your host, Educatedcollins, and I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Collins. I'm doing I'm doing just fine. How
You
are you
feeling
doing, man?
better?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
Let's say
that's
I'm
that's a good
close.
answer.
I'm in the 90s in terms of baseline, so
You need to be. But we'll get on it. We always, start with our weekly overview, kind of stuff like that. Uh, I don't remember my week, so you can go.
it's all a big blur. Collins had some big
Yeah.
parties. So yeah, my week was fine. Just some so yes, last edition was slightly delayed because I wasn't feeling so well. So I continued playing on my free to play account. So that's like 12K something, I think. Yeah, about 12K right now. And then I said, okay, let's start playing on the main. I queue up my first game, nice top eight. I'm like,
I
okay,
knew it.
yeah, right. But I just feel it. I essentially I was like, wow, this is really good that I do this before Lobby Legends because I got some nerfs playing on my main right after like 2 weeks or whatever of not playing on my main. And it was like, oh, that's so great. Cool. Okay, so I didn't play well because I was nervous. I know it sounds stupid, right? But in a way, I'm like, imagine if I just don't do that. And then my very first game on Lobby Legends is that, where it's just like nerves and I bomb and it's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Yeah, right. That's terrible, right? So I'm just like, that's great. Okay, so I'm susceptible to that. And then I said, all right, everyone is just a name and you play to win. And then I didn't place below second after that. And I gained over 300 more. So it was really a slap in the face. So like I even had one game where I was against Waterloo, uh, and I'm going to lose,
Okay.
but because I'm just choking,
Okay.
and in the middle of that 1v1, in the end, I'm like, all right, you have a golden hogger, beat him, kill him, destroy him, and then I was like, all right, good. And then I proceeded to destroy him. But it was funny. I was just watching myself play. It was like, I'm losing. I'm losing. Why am I like I'm playing poorly? What am I doing? And then I just realized you've got a golden hogger, all right? Because he was playing some weird ass shit as good players do, where he was like not really fully buster, had some poisons thrown in there. So it's kind of hard to really understand. If they're like full buster, you could just like mass stats, and they're just like, okay, I'll just outstat his combo. If they're full poison, you play like selfless hero and stuff. But if they're like half buster, half poison, it's like, then the selfless gets like killed by the mech bots, and then his poison might connect with my big minions. But I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just make this massive hogger, put it all the way in the back, and just let the rest kill his poisons, and then his poisons died, and then his mechs weren't big enough for my hogger. So whatever. Anyways, long story short, that was like the comeback day, and it was good because there were some lessons there that I needed to be reminded of before Lobby Legends. And then yeah, I mean, I think the days after that, even I played some on Asia today as well, and I
You're
think every day
are you
was yeah.
playing on Asia or not, or are you?
The
Oh, you.
the competitions on Asia,
Oh, it
yeah,
is on Asia. Okay.
yeah. So the
Yeah. Yeah.
well, in a way, but I played today, and like it doesn't really affect me too much,
Okay.
honestly, because I feel like I'm thinking so much just in terms of the game, and I'm not really being too like I'm
Capped. You're not being capped by the delays
yeah,
and
I'm
stuff.
not I don't reconnect. Like I don't know when the last time was I reconnected. It must be months ago.
Okay.
So like first of all, that's not bothering me.
Okay.
So I play every APM comp with Golden Brand or Hoggers or whatever. I play it all natural. No performance enhancing DCs. Although I haven't changed my stance on that. I think it's totally fine to do that on ladder. I just don't do it because it's not fun for the stream. And if I do ever end up playing a tournament where it's not allowed, then I'm not handicapped in that regard. And I'm just pretty good at do the thing, do the thing, do the thing. All right, time's up. Because I think if you're used to reconnecting, you're used to just finishing the turn. Like if it's not Hogger, so let's say it's like Bran, you're
Mhm.
just pumping, 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 pumping. It's like, all right, I got it done. I really squeezed everything out of that turn. But you just realize like if you have an APM comp and it's going, you're bigger than the rest. That's fine. Like you're not losing because you're not bigger than the rest. You're losing because you didn't play the Manted Queen, or you were too greedy, or you ended on a jug, or whatever it was. But you didn't lose because you weren't big enough. Like
Mhm.
if you're pumping with a Golden Brand and a Theo or whatever, and you're running out of time, that's okay. Yeah, I only plus 60 this turn. Horrible. Right? So, once you realize that, you don't really get too annoyed by the lag because you just understand it's the stats are just smaller. But if I'm playing a different comp, if I'm playing a Baron comp, I'll finish my turn. I'll just roll. It's fine. If I'm playing a regular mech comp or whatever, I'll roll and it's fine. If I'm playing anything that requires a lot of actions, I'll probably be bigger than my competitors anyway. So yeah, I'll just be slightly smaller than I would normally be. Now, I mean, there can obviously be situations where it's like Agam versus Theo, and then because the Agam player was
Right,
on
right.
Asia, and they out, but yeah, those are just things you have to accept. I think what was really cool for me is just seeing all the APAC and China players just dominate anyway. Be like, no factor, right? Like watching them play Hogger very painfully, like,
Right, yeah, yeah.
right? Just so in a way, it's just understanding. I don't cry about not to say that it's not something that is cannot be a source of frustration, but I think you just watch them deal with it and you say, okay, it's not a factor. It's fine. I'll make it work. So I just played today, and I honestly I barely didn't notice it. It's just like you understand when you have a handful of gems, it's like gem,
Yeah.
gem,
Yeah.
gem.
Yeah,
Like you
but
got to get in that rhythm.
who's playing gems, you know? Like that
Yeah, right. I
yeah.
mean, I had actually a great game today where I had
Like,
Golden Hammer on the taunt thing, the thing that makes gems every time a taunt ties.
right.
So I did that until I hit Agam, and then I like made a Golden Agam with like a hand of 10 gems. I was like, oh, this is so many stats. So yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, I'm just kind of babbling on about my week, but that was essentially it. It's just prepping, and I feel good. Like I think sometimes I get a little bit in my own head, but overall I feel good. And regardless of the outcome tomorrow, I feel like I'm gonna play well overall, and I'm gonna be happy with it.
Uh, m- obviously I don't have like a tournament to prep or anything, so I don't have, you know, as many games, or even my games, and they don't feel that memorable. Like I just play my games and I'm done with the day. There's no like
Right.
overarching goal that I'm aspiring towards too. So
Mm.
I had
So
some
it's not
games, it
like
was
yeah,
fine. Yeah, like like that's how I feel. Like
very acceptable. We played cool games
we
together,
did play
right?
cool. The games I
Like,
played with you were the best games of the week. It's not. I think that's pretty clear.
were they before or after the podcast? After,
It was after the
yeah.
Lobby Legends. So
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. So it was after that. Yeah, yeah. So after the weekend. Yeah, that was fun. That was
yeah,
fun.
they were great. Um, but other than that, you know, I I had like, you know, esports stuff that took a day or so, whatnot. So
Right,
gen-
right. Yeah.
generally, you know, not as, you know, in impactful in terms of like playing actual games, but I did like teaching people. Like you learn a lot. Funny enough, but I mean that's a very already widely known concept. But it's always interesting to go like, oh yeah, this is what I think about the game in this
Yeah.
order, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, a good way of see like there's a saying that if you don't know how to teach something, you don't
you
know it
don't.
well
Yeah, I
enough.
know.
Yeah.
I'm
So
aware.
I think in this case you know it well enough, but it's nice to have to articulate it so you actually you make it real in a sense where before it's like maybe a little more vague. You know what's up, you kind of you know how to do it, but now you're like, okay, I gotta actually put it into words. I gotta make sure that if people ask questions about it, I know how to answer that. So yeah, like in that way it can definitely help
I don't know if it
refine your
helped
game.
me. I just thought it was interesting, you know, per se. Like, cause
So
you know
you
the
said you were
information.
learning. You said you were learning from teaching,
I,
or
no, I said it was interesting. I didn't say,
okay.
you know, and I just thought it was like funny to put it into words and stuff like that. Not that, oh wow, I've rediscovered Nirvana or anything like that. I'm just like,
Well, I mean, at our level, it's very rare that we rediscover Nirvana or even discover
happy
Nirvana.
heads. That's a
It's
Pepe head statement.
yeah, it's once you get to a certain level, it's not like I've gotten better. Another plus 1,000 MMR thing that I learned. It's like no, I learned this like fringe thing that I can use in certain lobbies with a certain hero when some minion
Is
types are
that
banned.
that
And
that is like the difference maker though when you get to the high levels? It's the
oh,
fringe things that you can
absolutely,
use with
absolutely. Like I had this like yesterday as well, where I think that was like one of my first games in Asia. I queued up and I just see this very specific lobby where I'm like, oh, this is a George. And I take the George, and it's such an easy first, where it's like it's no Mex, it's no Beast, Colbor in. And yeah, it's such an easy George lobby where
but
you
there's
just
no gem splitter.
well, yeah, but you can still do stupid stuff with dynamic duo and the 4/4 that gives you gems every time a taunt dies.
We should
So
have a name for him.
right, Scrap Smith, I think
No,
is
no,
the
no, no,
name.
no. Like no, like a pet name, like a name that like oh yeah, it's
I mean, the obvious one is
Taunt
Scrappy,
Gem
right?
guy, you
But
know.
yeah, but Taunt Gem guy, what's yeah.
Yeah, that's a work in progress. You don't have to. You
Yeah,
don't.
exactly. We can come back to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like anyway, like I took a blood goblet as well, just understanding that, hey, if people don't have tokens, making huge attack things is good,
and
right?
you're
So I was like,
George, so everything has
yeah, all
shield.
right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
just put that cleave in the back for a turn, shield that sucker up, move it to the front, boom. So
So I guess you're playing
yeah,
Elias.
I was playing everything, but yeah, I had a
No, because like
wildfire.
you said, Beast, no Max,
Yeah. So I had a
right?
wildfire.
So
You are
yeah,
correct in
yeah.
that. I was playing, in fact, the only other
Yeah,
cleave in
so
the
I was
game.
like, you put the
That
cleave in
is
the
a
back. I'm like,
I wasn't
wait,
playing Ellie, but
you're
it
playing
wasn't a
George.
problem. I think for the most part in that game I was playing Coolbor, but then I just tripled into Fort. So then I just made like a taunted Fort and
Three other
dynamic
things.
duo and stuff. So those things were scaling on their own, and then the rest I was scaling with the blood goblet, and then I had a shaker as well, and then the
It sounds like a bunch of random nonsense.
well, it's basically George stuff, high damage divine shield things, and a lot of them have taunt. And that is normally not good. But when you don't run into beast or mechs, it's pretty good.
And they all have divine shield. That's pretty good.
Yeah, like even if they blaster you, they're still kind of trading one for one, so you still win because they
You
have
got
to
the
run a blast.
cleave. Did you taunt
Yeah,
your wildfire?
no.
Aw. But you're
So they
missing
one
out
less.
on the 4+4.
I know, but I think by the yeah, I think the fourth stuff was already well established. The wildfire came in kind of late.
Shame.
All right,
Shame.
anyways. Hey, it was still really easy first. Like
Is that what matters though, Shady? It's about sending a message. Yeah, you gotta murder them super hard. Yeah.
you needed a golden taunted 200 damage
Wow.
wildfire, and
Exactly.
without that, your victory is hollow, sir. Hollow, and I refuse to accept it.
Nice.
Or
Yes.
no. Right.
But moving on, we do have some important news to talk about. I would say I didn't know where to put this, so I put it first. Unfortunately, it looks like Blizzard is suspending the game services. Now, I have some
Whoa. That
in
China.
China.
Okay, you're
That's
just
fair.
like Blizzard's quitting. This was the last week. Next week, the
You're right.
podcast
You're
about
right.
PFP.
You're right. You're right. That's true. I did
Okay.
pause too early for that one.
Yeah.
In China, it looks like for essentially 2023, at least starting January 2023, they're not going to have a lot of the Blizzard games. So it's not just Hearthstone. That is something to note. It isn't like they're not renewing Hearthstone. It's like World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Overwatch, StarCraft, Diablo 3, Heroes of the Storm. So that's quite a lot of titles. Uh, I I don't think this is like intentional or something, or like Blizzard's planning this. I think this has more to do with like the government like cracking down and putting some pressure on maybe some of the partners that Blizzard was working on. So, but regardless of like how it happened, it is pretty.
But that is speculation, right?
Yeah, this part is
Yeah.
speculation. So I you know I don't have the ins. No one's told me like the details. I just have like little tidbits here and there. Um, but regardless, and point is like for a lot of the Chinese audience, they're not going to be able to play their Blizzard games for the foreseeable future. There is a possibility that they could get a new partner and that could get the games resuming. But for right now, we don't have that detail, right? So we just have to talk about what the news is. So um, I don't know. I just feel pretty bad, pretty sad. I think a lot of the like tournaments and stuff were really kind of based in China, and a lot of the competitors, like anytime you you watch a BG tournament and their Chinese players are in there, they always do really well. You can see that in Lobby Legends, and they had like gold series in for constructed as well. That was a pretty big part of it, where some international players would come play there, and there was also just some international tournaments that kind of uh, were originated in China. So there's quite a lot of repercussions in the global ecosystem of Hearthstone, even if it's only the China client that's being suspended for now. So it's just I don't know. It's very sad, and definitely saw some comments from some of the player base, and like it's not like any of this is expected, right? Like the constructed players didn't know this was gonna happen or anything like that. So it's just like you wake up one day and it's like, oh well. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine. You just wake up
No,
one
that
day and
was
you're like, oh,
the curveball, as we call that.
it's not it's much bigger than a curveball, but yeah,
Well, no, I mean, life throws you curveballs,
yeah,
right?
I guess
Uh,
it does.
that is more the you just have to figure out like what to do next, and that's not something that you expect to, not from that angle, right? You might at some point figure out, all right, I'm gonna stop playing the game, I'm gonna, focus on business or whatever. But you don't expect like, oh, the game's not available in my country anymore. It's like, oh wow, that was pretty sudden.
Yeah, and I mean China, like even from a Blizzard perspective, China was a pretty important um player base, right? That they had to look into. So not having that, even if it's not for like forever, but like even if it's for like a specific length of time, it is gonna hurt them. So just it's just sad news on every front. I there's no real positive here that I can see. Like maybe you come up with it, but I just don't really see any good outcome of this. So it's just a sad day for really just the whole Blizzard uh ecosystem as a whole.
Mm.
So,
No, for sure, for sure. It's assuming that the indeed this is just um, like a policy thing or whatever, then that's going to both hurt Blizzard's bottom line, and it's going to be obviously bad for the player base. So as you say, usually you can at least outline some benefit, right? But here we're just entering a lose-lose situation.
yeah. So yeah, I mean this is a heavy topic. I don't have any good news, no follow up. This is just like yeah, this is the situation that we woke up to.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
this doesn't really affect our ecosystem in that
it
the
it
players,
doesn't a little bit.
well, the players that play the game day to day, right? Like they don't notice. They this might go unknown for a lot of more casual players. Like
So
they might
okay,
read
so
up
you're
on the
saying
news.
if you're a casual player like playing in the other regions, like you might not
Yeah,
know this happened. I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
exactly. This
Like
obviously for competitive play, high level stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I know Waterloo at least talks a lot with the Chinese community,
He
or
does. Yeah.
is part of it. One of the two. I don't know.
I mean, we're all
But yeah,
part of it in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, he communicates directly. Is what you're saying. Yes, that's true.
yeah. So like that'll be very sad as well. Where I don't know if like some players might try to figure out a way around this or
So
try to.
yeah, so like the thought process is like using VPNs, but like that's very difficult, and I don't know how easy it is to do, especially in China. Like the difficulty of using VPNs there is significantly higher than places you could try. So it's like even if you try, it's probably it's probably going to be convoluted. And it's not going to be easy in like the way that you could like just using a VPN, boom, you're done. And like I don't know if
Yeah,
it's going to be like that quick, like 10-minute video you watch and you know what to do. Um,
the crazy firewall in China.
yeah, and even if you could do that, right? Like that's not going to be a significant amount of player base, and like any tournaments and stuff like that,
Oh no, no, no.
you
No, I was
can't
just
really
referring
be
to
like,
what
oh yeah,
the
I'm gonna compete from this VPN, like you know what I mean, like that's
but you're
not really gonna
referring
work,
to maybe some of the top players, right? Because it's
right?
always a shame if that talent goes to waste, where you've potentially spent years honing that craft and suddenly no longer being allowed to practice it anymore is that can be quite brutal.
I wonder if people spend money will get anything back. I don't think that's very likely, unfortunately. Maybe like but the thing is like it's not. There's still like a couple of months or like a month and a half, like 2 months or so before it closes. So like any pre-purchase, right? For like you're probably gonna play with it for a bit before things shut actually get shut down. So I don't know. I just don't see it very likely. It's just not a
I wouldn't be able to make a statement on it. Of course, the my gut feeling is if it's a pre-purchase for a thing that won't hit,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
then that
Then
seems questionable,
but
right? They wouldn't
there's
have
no. I mean, there's none of that's there, right? Like I don't think any of the
right. Well,
pre-purchase.
in the games we know of, right? So
I see.
I don't know if
Right,
there's
because
any.
we're just talking about Hearthstone, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If there's any of the other games that they pre-purchase that won't hit before
yeah, I
the
could see
life
that for
runs
sure.
out. But
But
yeah,
but yeah. Anyways, I mean, we have to
yeah,
talk about this, so I figured,
bring it up.
yeah, I'll bring it up. But yeah, pretty disappointing. I mean, and it's not like I don't think it's like Blizzard's per se fault there. I just think it's more of like the ecosystem of China and the policies
Yeah, I
and stuff
mean, we
like that.
honestly
So
don't really know.
yeah, but
Like it's
we don't know. Maybe it is, and they just didn't want to pay the price or whatever to renew the partnership. But that's all speculation. Anyways, moving on. I'm kind of done with really speculating here. We do have to talk about Lobby Legends. Lobby Legends did go on, um, like 6 days ago, so quite like about a week ago, something like that. And so, spoilers. I mean, if you haven't seen it, we're spoiling it. We did watch the tournament and we did commentate over the games, and I had a lot of fun commentating. Like it was late, but I had a good time just kind of watching the games and seeing it play.
it was early for you, really
It was
early.
it was early. That's what I meant. By late, I meant early. Thanks for the translation.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, it was 2 a.m., so I think for a lot of people that's late, but you got up early,
yeah,
right? So
I just slept earlier. Um, how do I how I don't know if you want like a detailed rundown of like our thoughts, you'd have to watch our commentary here, but like short thing short, like Zunyu won. I think it was deserved. I was pretty happy with his play in particular. We had a nickname for him that if you watch you'll know, but I'm not gonna spoil it there.
oh,
Um,
okay. Leave him hanging. Leave
yeah,
him on the line.
you gotta give them these fruits so that they actually take a look. But overall, I think it was a good tournament. I'm very happy with the evil twin change they did the day before. I think the games would have
Yeah.
looked a lot different if that interaction was still in there. So happy they took that out. I think the games were pretty healthy. I mean, so there were some like there was maybe like some complications in terms of like cookbook and ball of minions, like those two cards like individually and even together were kind of problematic and dominated some of um the compositions that people were making. But I still thought like the tournament was like fun and like skill tested. Like I think there was still a lot of skill testing, even if there were like some outliers of like this is too strong. So that was my initial read of it.
Yeah, I think we did see our fair share of lobbies getting won by Cookbook, or
Mm.
at the very least, where it was very, very, very strong. So that's the Cookbook is one of those quests where if you put it in the hands of a great player,
It's not,
it's
but
just,
the problem with that quest is you put it in the hands of a bad player. Like it's still good. Like you know what I mean? Like
I feel like there's more.
I,
Well,
come
I
on,
guess
like
I don't know. Well, no, I'm not saying that Cookbook shouldn't be up for review. I'm just saying that it's one of those quests where it's easy to die with it if you don't know what you're doing. Um,
yeah, but I'm saying like let's like you say someone gets activated cookbook super early, mechs are in, and you give it to like a new player, and he's like, okay, you're like you just tell him, okay, buy some magnetized, buy deflectos.
but you wouldn't be telling him, but or you wouldn't be
Well,
telling
I
him.
mean, but like you could give him simple instructions, like of how to play this.
But that then it's no longer
Then they're not
that's
a bad player. I tell them
that's an
I give
enhanced.
them 30 seconds of speech, and now they've went from a bad player to like, oh no, that's not fair. You've given them 30
Well,
seconds of advice. Like I,
you've given them very, very narrow,
n-
specific advice in a specific game, right?
right.
So it's sort of like just whispering to your protege like a chess opening, and
Yeah,
then they
well,
get like a mate in nine or
but the
something,
thing is, you
and
can't
they're
do
like,
that
"Yeah, I
with other
figured it."
quest rewards. I can't tell them, oh, 30 seconds. Here's my tip. Go out and play,
No,
and
of
they'll
course
do
there's
well. So I'm
well, but
saying
then
like
your problem is that Cookbook is too easy to play, right?
no. You like in the hands of a great player, it's very abusable. But even a new, like a relatively like inexperienced player, can still win, can still do well with it. Is what I'm saying. Like it's not only there are some like heroes and stuff where that you have to be a good
Yeah,
player to
no,
utilize
for
it
sure,
well.
for
Yeah,
sure.
and I
I,
think
I don't think we're really arguing different sides here. I think that
fair
it
enough.
is.
You
I think
but
with Nexon it is too strong.
yeah, and
You're
baller
saying that
minions in it's also too
it's
strong.
really we see it why in these lobbies because these are all such very strong players. We just see why it's too strong, where they will survive most of the time, or they wouldn't have picked the quest, and then afterwards they just start the scaling madness.
Yeah. Uh, I I'm just saying like it's I guess we are just saying it's like it's just good. Like it's like but besides those games and those outliers and stuff like that, I think the games are like pretty fair and fun to watch is what I wanted to. Yeah, obviously those moments are gonna stick in your mind and be like, oh well, yeah, I just won.
Yeah, and there's more to Mobile Legends than playing for first place, of
Hmm.
course. I think the majority is doing well in the mid game and figuring out how to make a board of 7 minions that wins fights, and then from there, just either you have the board that can take a first, or you're just trying to stay alive as long as you can. We saw a lot of cool tech decisions being made by a number of the players where
Yeah.
they
And
really make the difference by buying a specific minion.
yeah, I think you could really see that or show like a lot of the players that did well were really utilizing those tech cards to play around things or try to at least attempt to break other people's compositions. So um, I think that's nice. I think that's cool because you don't see it all too often in ladder. Like at least you don't see it to the degree that you see it in this tournament at least because like once it gets like top two, like then people start like really teching around you because you're fighting the same opponent. But people in this room were attacking like six people alive. They start attacking, like, and that's pretty interesting, pretty cool to see. And
For me, it goes to the philosophy of not really having bad minions on your board, where we might look at it as a well. You can tech specifically for your next opponent, where if you see
mm,
that they are running mechs, like a mid game blaster can still work wonders, because you might just catch a the deflecto bot where you remove the shield and then the deflecto kills itself. But
yeah,
also just earlier Leroy, earlier Manted, and just not ending your turn on a shitty minion. I think that just works wonders.
Yep. And I'm just like, I don't waste that gold. Yeah, just hold your Leroy.
That's not a Lobby Legends mentality though.
I mean,
Like saving 12 health and dealing damage to your opponent is so
yeah,
insanely
you do
good.
have to play. I mean, you have to play a little different for ranked and tournament, especially in like high level tournaments. In ranked, you can save your Leroy. That's all. I remember I was discussing a game and I was like, I would save a gem here. And I was like, Shay would not would not say this. I was like, Shay would not even mention that you could save a gem here. But I'm just like, oh, if you look at your
I
force,
mean, depends on the situation, but if you think I wouldn't say it,
no,
then
you
yeah.
wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Okay.
You was...
No, that's fair. That's fair. I do save gems sometimes. I'll say that.
Yeah,
But
when it
yeah,
makes sense, but like.
when it's obvious, yeah.
He's like one shot from dying. Like it's like no one is dying. He's one shot dying like 11 lives, and I'm just like, I would save a jump here. Like there's no way. But I think he was strong enough, but like it's fair to use the gem. I just think like if he looks at everything, it's like I'm too strong at this one point.
At this game today, where that mentality was definitely present, where I was just playing this wisdom ball game, and I'm like ready to start the game, and they're like, ah, shit, it's only one guy alive. No,
Yeah,
I was like,
those are fine. Wait,
yeah,
you're not paying attention to like your opponents, and then you're like, okay, I'm feeling good, and you're like, oh, the game's almost over. It's like 2 turns left, and it's like, oh man, like, you're having a good time.
That was a good one.
But congratulations to Yan Yu. Did win, did play well.
Yeah, deserved for sure.
Yeah,
Strong presence.
it wasn't like super one-sided or so. Like I think it was relatively close at the end where there were definitely some breakout, like some people that were doing better than others, but like you can see like it's mostly pretty close together, except for like maybe the top 2, but the others are pretty all close. So and it didn't really feel that way, I guess, while we were watching. Didn't really feel like it was so close like this. I think there was just like a lot of consistent players that were like on average doing better than some of their peers. That's kind of how I felt when I was watching the games, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, we really saw a lot of. I remember this one lobby where I think there were 5 people who just had the nuts.
Yeah,
That was just so tragic. Like, and then there's like Oliek with his shitty ass elemental board fights a ghost and
and
chooses third place.
does he
Yeah,
get third
so
or yeah,
he
it was
gets
like
third.
third.
Yeah, because he. So I guess at the time there's 4 players left with a nutty board. So there's I think it's like a Gallywix is just going crazy
Right.
with Golden Agam Dargaze. There's a Millhouse who has like play 4 elemental or whatever, discover a minion. So elemental or pirate. So obviously he discovered a bunch of hoggers. And I remember over the course of one turn, he went from like nothing to 2 hoggers and a brand, and just because he was just continuously discovering 5-drops and just kept pulling cards, which means he could get more money, he could spend more money because he got hoggers. So he just kept playing and kept discovering. It was actually insane. So yeah, we have the Gallywix, we have the Millhouse, and then I think we have Sliders on an Omu who's just really strong, full infinite pumping, but has to fight the Gallywix, so it doesn't have a shot. And there's one other person that's being strong. So the Gallywix and the Millhouse both fight one of the other high rollers and kill them, and then Oliek has this board of like 30
Yeah,
elementals.
it was like, what is he
Yeah.
doing here for sure?
Fights the ghost, gets third place, and be like, "Yee, nice." So that was such a steal. That was theft. That was absolute theft. Like the 2 people below him definitely were stronger. But
I
hey,
mean,
that happens sometimes, right? Catch the ghost at a good time.
yeah, and that's the power of mechs as well. Right? Like you don't take too much damage when you lose. A lot of times, if you have like double deflector, like it kills things.
I mean, he was running elementals, I think.
I thought he was mechs.
No, I think he was running some weird, like some pretty low. I mean, It's all possible, of course. My memory could be shoddy, but I sort of remember him being scaling with elementals. But maybe there were like 2 deflectos and then a reset on a ball. Who knows? The
Maybe.
rest was elementals.
Who knows? Not like we can go back and watch it, but
That'd be an effort.
yeah, that's too much effort for me. But yeah, congratulations, and moving on, we do have the next Lobby Legends. So this is happening tomorrow. Do you know how many hours? I guess I could look it up.
It's 9:30 for me in the morning, and right now it's almost 7 in the evening, so not that far off.
So in like 14 hours, essentially.
Yeah.
That's good. My time. I could actually just watch that.
Wait, it's the same as when we did Lobby Legends.
Oh no! Or is it in the morning? Oh,
Yeah,
it is
mine.
the same. No, that's
Yeah,
horrible. My time. Never
yeah. I was
mind.
about to say, yeah,
I'm
that's
not
2 a.m.
staying up for that.
Yeah, no.
I'll watch it in the morning, maybe.
I'll let you know on Discord if you should watch or not.
Yeah. Let me know. Let me know, and
No, watch regardless. It's fine. You can watch me lose as well. It's no problem.
I don't know.
It can be painful. It can be. Yeah, no, I feel like
Okay.
it can be painful. It's like I don't want to watch that.
I might just feel bad about it, like well, hopefully we're having a different conversation.
No, hopefully we're
Yeah.
fist bumping over the internet, be like, yeah, let's go, baby.
But
I mean, it's obviously a giga stacked lobby because it's a giga stacked lobby every single time.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
yeah. So I was reading. They're like, "Oh, this is a stacked lobby." I'm like, "When is it not?" Like,
When is it?
I
Like,
don't understand.
turns out if you take the top 16 performers of each region and you pit them against each other, you're not gonna get any breaks. It's it's cool though. It's nice.
Yeah, so
So
you're in
every
lobby 6 in particular.
I am in lobby 6.
Yeah,
So
Kenken Satellite, Advo, Penguin San, Kuramatu, Shady Bunny.
Advo able to qualify now,
Yeah.
right? And
Kume, Roger, and then also like you have to also think about lobby 3 because you'll have to play the top 4 from there, and then you have Waterloo, San Yang.
yeah, I mean, we
Rotary.
play in streamer mode, so it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, blah blah blah. You just gotta
like they're just names, really. I mean, they're gonna buy Leroy's, they're gonna buy Queens, they're gonna blaster you when you're playing Shields or whatever. So that's the main thing you're just looking at. Where
Dog got in, nice. I don't think we've seen Dog in too many qualifiers. But,
oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
RDU made it in again as well. So
yeah, that I'm not too surprised about. XQ had made it in. Oh wow!
Oh wow! Crazy.
I hear you. God damn it's here again. Wow, that's crazy.
These young and up and coming rank 1 leaderboard players qualify. Yeah. No,
but yeah, definitely gonna be an interesting tournament. It's the last one for the year, so that's always interesting. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Well, this is my 4th one, right? So you have 25% chance to qualify. So
right.
This is
The Kofi of I hear
math
you.
is on my side.
The math is on your side, yeah.
I could go talk to the manager if I don't get it right. Must have been a mistake. It's my time.
I mean, it's kind of true, but like also like
no, so not true. I definitely have played. I've played some good ones, but I distinctly remember one where I just didn't play well enough. I think I've had like super close one where I didn't make it by like 1 point or less. Might be a point or a half a point. I also distinctly remember this buddy meta game where I'm like sitting on tier 3 as Allocator and I'm just like not hitting a splitter or a parrot. I'm just sitting there like, why now? Why now?
Why now? Yeah.
Because that was so free, right? If you remember that.
Yeah, I remember, dude. It's so
sorry. 10 gems every time, and then you're just a monster. But yeah, that one was savage. So yeah, anyways, it's stacked, but what is it not? So just gonna go in there pretty relaxed, play my games. I mean, the thing is like I know the meta, right? And I think that just makes it far more relaxing. Where yeah, these people are gonna play really well, but at least I know which heroes to pick. I know which directions to go for. And that is a big source, I guess, of discomfort, where you just know, okay, there's obviously some things I'm not going to know, but understanding what works and what doesn't, understanding when to go for your quest, which quests you can get away with, like that definitely helps.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I hope everyone in chat's also rooting for you.
Yeah, I mean, enough about me. It's fine.
It's all about you here this time. So
It's we'll see. That's it. So next edition, for those of you who just listen to the podcast, we'll we'll let you know if I made it or not.
yep, we will. All right, and then we do have just general BG things to talk about. I do want to start off with the Cthulhu once again, just because like I thought their like we thought their change was a bit like lenient, I guess is the word I would
Slap on
put.
the wrist for sure.
Yeah, because
Not a hefty nerve.
it was by far the best. And then they lower the armor down. I thought that was a bit crazy, but like it's it's theoretically like not the best anymore, like quote unquote. But I don't really buy it. If I'm gonna be honest.
Well, if you filter on 1%, even there's a bigger gap.
Yeah, I
It's hard
know,
to
but
know.
I don't really buy it. I still think this is like an easy pick hero, that can do well. Obviously, like, do you think this was like a fine? Like, are you happy with its power level? Like, you're like, okay, this is fine. Leave
I
it like
don't
this.
feel like I'm like, damn it, there's a Cthulhu in the lobby. So
Okay.
I think as long as I don't, like, I had that feeling with Whack Toggle, I had that
Mm-hmm.
feeling with Lich, right?
Right.
So obviously Shudderwalk,
Mm.
back when Shudderwalk was a monster. Eudora, when she was a monster, right? It was also like, ugh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
fighting it. Like, I don't have that, like, oh, I'm fighting Cthulhu on the power spike. No.
Yeah, it's because Cthulhu spikes if you're doing well. You know what I mean? Like later in the game, that's
I
when
feel like
he
he
spikes.
doesn't really spike.
No, no,
It's a
no, like, but you
it's
feel
a
you'll
gradual
feel it.
bloating
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
stats.
yeah, yeah. You'll feel it later in the game. But
Yeah.
like, if you're a good player, you can easily get comms that outstat the Cthulhu. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing like Hogger or Nomi or Kobor, even Naga, like you can easily make stats that are better than +16 +16. It is nice for him because it's 2 mana +16, and you could be doing the same thing, but you're also getting the extra stats. But like you don't feel it as much early, where it's like okay, early, and
Yeah.
you might not even tap, so the early game doesn't feel that bad, and it's only when you're doing well are you like, oh well, it's kind of annoying, like he's it's I'm doing well and he's also doing well, but he gets
Yeah,
this extra
I
stats.
think it's like, I don't really fear Cthulhuns that just play Cthulhu. I
Yeah,
fear
yeah.
Cthulhuns
They
that
play
use the
normal.
armor
Yeah,
to do the crazy shit, right?
yeah.
So usually, whatever I'm fighting, you don't really notice too much that their hero power is even going off unless it's a mask. It's
Mm.
more, oh, they
Mask
were
is stupid.
strong.
I agree. Like
Yeah.
that one doesn't make sense. That it's
I've,
okay.
and because you still have a reasonable amount of armor, you can actually complete it,
It also
especially
upgrades twice.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what happens is at the end of your turn, your hero power procs, as in it upgrades, but then also the application is doubled. So for those of you who don't know, that means that once mask is active, it pretends that 2 turns have passed in terms of your upgrade on your hero power. But also, if you do click the button, you get one set of blobs, and then you get the next set of blobs, and that's just, it's completely unfair
It's
because
not fair at all. Yeah.
you do that in a no Murloc lobby, and I had Whelp Smuggler, and I had these like 170 health dragons without trying. Where it's like you play one fresh dragon and it's like 60 health in one turn or something. Like maybe that's a bit much, but it's very very dumb. Like how much health comes on there.
Yeah. So that interaction doesn't really make too much sense. Kind of reminds me of like Secret Sinstone levels of like with Nagas. It's like, this isn't balanced.
Well, I feel like Sinstone Naga boards blow this out of the water.
Yeah, they do. I know, but like but you don't have to like. I mean, it gives me that vibe. You know what I mean?
Where you're like,
It's
oh,
not,
this shouldn't
this
be
shouldn't
right.
be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
You get a mass Cthulhu and you don't die early. That's probably top 2 secured. And
mm.
then if your opponent isn't like Gallywix, Millhouse, Elementals, or something, you're probably just gonna win the game.
But now he's sitting like very comfortably top tier. Like, is this like this is happy? You're happy with this? Like
I'm
he's
fine
just
with
a
this.
great
Yeah,
hero to pick. Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
can come.
I like that. There's another thing where I'm like, ooh, Cthulhu. I
Yeah,
almost skipped it on my main because I have a skin, cute Thune, and I'm just so used to skipping it. I was like, oh wait,
yeah, he's
Thune is
good
good.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it's like
better. He's better the higher MMR. Like the lower MMR you get, the better he performs. Funny. I mean, which makes sense, right? Because you just have to hit him
yeah,
down.
yeah. I think the higher up you go, the less you play around the hero power, and the more you just leverage the armor and the fact that you can sometimes hero power. Just say squeeze. I usually like to compare it to a jug. I'm like, okay, what am I getting a jug? Yeah, okay, I'm getting like a jug and a half. Okay, that's pretty good. So try to ask myself, would I like to play a jug here or not? Would I like to play jug and a half or so?
I like to play 3 jugs. Like, yeah, I would.
Yeah, when you're going up to 3 jugs, that's pretty late in the game. If I get 3 jugs for 2 mana, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's decent.
You don't even have a brand though. Imagine you play your brand. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't work.
That's mask, right? Then you're playing brand.
Yeah.
Brand.
Mask is brand.
Then you're playing 6 jugs.
Yeah, that's I don't like the sound of that.
The good stuff. Yeah.
It's even better than 6 jugs because it upgrades twice, right? So by the time you're there, you're probably getting like 8 jugs, right? Because it's
A
like 4
lot.
jugs twice.
Yeah.
So,
I like the doing the math in terms of jugs. Just makes it real. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, just looking at the just the heroes themselves, I'm not like too shocked about any of these.
Right. You're just like seeing if there's anything that catches your eye. I think Syndragosa being in the tier 1. Right. I'm looking at oh, so she's also for the top 5%, or oh no, you're also on top
No,
1,
I'm
right?
on top
You're on
one,
top.
but
All right. Yeah.
she's even better in top 5 actually. Just
Right, and I think that's just because you're getting a massive
armor,
amount of
yeah,
armor with
she
a
has so
hero
much
power that
armor.
does something,
Yeah,
and that's a big selling point. It also has a low-ish pick rate, which means that it's usually people that know just how relevant it is to get that armor, and then also understand
nah,
how to
it's
leverage
because
it.
they're picking it when the armor is the max. When they get 9 armor, they're like, okay, 7 armor, nah, I'm out. Yeah, 9 armor, yeah, that's what's going on. I agree with you though.
And I think I've done some really fun Syndragosa things with like Picky Eater as well, where you can buff the tavern and then eat it. So
Hmm. So
there's
it's better
there's some
with
cool stuff.
dragons, is what I mean. Demons, is what
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying.
like a small thing. It's a small thing. I would say where you can freeze stuff, and then with Picky Eater, you can, instead of having to buy all the buffed minions, you can just buy a buffed Picky Eater and then eat one of the other buffed minions. So it's definitely some
Yeah,
stuff you
buff
can
the
do.
picky eater too. Wow, that's genius.
Yeah, all right, 2 for 1. Why
Two
not?
for one. Yeah, crazy. Getting +4.
So that gives you like a free early game. So I do see that. I'd say disproportionate, where I see Syndragosas with a big Picky Eater. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Just freeze it.
Director as well has a huge pick rate. It's pretty. I mean,
Huge win rate,
a
but
low.
small pick
Yeah,
rate, right?
yeah.
Yeah, below 10%. So
It's just not a
that's
hero
them.
that wins lobbies, which is maybe its weakness. But you get a ton of armor, and like if you're you have some synergy, it's okay.
When you hover the first place, when you hover the first place rate of the Drekthar, what that tells me is that you get roughly 10% of the time you get cookbook offered. Where that's how
Is that
you
what you're
those are the
saying?
first places where you just sit there with your armor, you complete the cookbook, and you're like, I have scaling now. Yeah, nice. So
It's true. Like it's kind of hard to know what the first places mean because, like, well, cookbook can give you a win out of nowhere. It doesn't really matter what hero you're playing. So sometimes it's just like, are
I mean, it
these
can tell you,
accurate?
right?
Yeah, it
Like,
tells you a little bit.
especially no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Right. I was gonna say that something that I have noticed is that generally it's the gold spent requirement that is unreasonable a lot of the time.
You think
Where,
so? Because
well, I seem to rarely go for the gold spent requirement because you can cheese play 8 elementals or whatever. You can't really
choose
cheese spend
gold.
50 gold. You can buy a
Um,
tad here and there and be like, oh, I cheese the gold, yay.
yeah,
But
like
so
maybe
it seems,
pirates, and then you get like early grub. But
yeah,
that's very iffy. It's not
you get some like
reliable.
money pirates. That's the realistic version there, right? You get some money pirates and you swap. So it seems to me that this I very, very rarely go for the requirement that asks me to spend gold unless it just fits really well where I'm strong and I can wait a little bit, or I don't want to buy the minions because I want to level, but once again I would indicate that I'm strong and I really want a reward. But I find myself very rarely and ending up picking up the gold reward because you can sort of project into the future and you're like, well, I'm getting this at this stage and that's just too late. Whereas with the other ones, you can generally get it earlier than the spend gold, even though they're in the game's perception, they're as difficult. You'll
Are
still
we
usually find more.
just talking about in the concept in the realm of cooked book, or like just all
No.
quests in
In general,
general?
I think especially on a zero armor hero. I think on a
Zero
zero armor
armor hero,
hero,
like you can't take it. Yeah, it takes
yes,
forever.
just not even cookbook, but in general, just on a
Any
zero armor
quest,
hero.
like,
Well, on a zero armor hero, you'll generally get a very high requirement for spending gold, just because you're getting the max penalty. So the way that I treat zero armor heroes a lot of the time is that they have a way around that requirement by being able to generate more minions. So scabs, hook tusk, cookie, they can generate minions. So they can cheese play certain type quests. They can cheese play battle cry quests. They can even cheese attack certain amount of time quests because they can just make more minions. But they can't really cheese the spend gold one. So you're like you pick a good quest on scabs with spend gold. That's looking at 50 gold minimum.
right?
All right, so that just takes a very long time.
So the one nice thing about like quests like spend gold is that you will eventually complete them, right? So it's something
Yeah.
where you don't have to really think about, oh, I need to change my player or buy this minion or play this weaker minion or buy, you will eventually complete them. So you do have this inevitability factor, but the spend gold is pretty like particularly um expensive, I guess, compared to some of the other requirements. Like
Yeah.
that one is one of the more expensive ones to get. You usually like it usually feels like you're getting your quest a turn or even 2 turns later than you would if you picked a different requirement. Which can be bad. There are some quests that you don't really care if you get it late, but a lot of the quests, like the earlier you get it the better. So
Yep.
pretty much.
Just looking at the rest here, where I
What do you
like
think?
that
What do you think's undervalued? Well,
undervalued
we
in
always
what context?
like what's low win rate, but like shouldn't be like besides like you're gonna say brand or whatever, but
All right,
there
so in are we looking in the 1% or 5%
any
category?
either way, either or like they both
Any percent.
yeah any
Okay.
percent any we're speed running this any percent
Speed running.
give me your numbers.
I mean, Gallywix is obviously not tier 4, but that is for the most part because that is just a very complicated hero to play, I'd say. And probably a bit overpicked as well. With a 53% pick rate, I think that's maybe slightly too high, where you pick him in over half the times you're offered. That means you're picking Gallywix when it's like no Ellie, no Pirate, and you're just sitting there like, so what exactly am I gonna buy to make this work? Right. So like let's say no cat, no Ellie, no Pirate. You're like, ugh, that's probably not happening. So
Mm.
I think Gallywix is probably just too low because
It's
um
not played in the right
it's not
options.
yeah, it's not picked in the right lobby, and then people are probably not leveraging the hero power as much as they should. Bran, I think, is
I know
criminally
I know I
criminally underrated. But that again, right? Bran is a really difficult hero in that maybe not even difficult, as in you could tell people how to play him,
uh-huh.
but people just don't play Bran in the right way.
Yeah, it's a hard
So
hero to play.
to put it in very, very simple terms, I think the moment you have 4 battle cries on
Cold
tier
battle
one,
cries.
Say again?
Old battle cries.
Yeah. Well, I think the first one is a selection process. Again, we see Brand being picked in half the lobbies.
Right.
I think
That
that
can't be
that can
right.
be fair, right? That can be fair.
In half
Um,
the lobbies, it's a good
but you
lobby
got to
for
be good,
Brand.
right? Like I think my pick rate with Brand might be 50%.
Ah.
So, but you
Yeah, but
gotta like I feel like
that's not fair. That's
feel like you
like,
gotta know. But I mean, so the way how I look at it is I can play a Brand right after level on turn 2, for instance. I
mhm.
can just treat because it has armor. That's my thing. Where I don't want Brand to lose the armor because I enjoy playing Brand a lot, and I think Brand without armor will
I
obviously
don't
be
think you. Yeah, I don't
far
think
richer.
you like Brand no armor. Just sounds unplayable.
Yeah, but Brand with armor is broken. So
Yeah, I know, but it's broken in specific circumstances where your skill is required. So maybe it's okay. You know, like it's not Shadowwalk esque at least is what I'm trying to say. Like where it's like
no. I think it's broken within the realms of being acceptable. So I just call him broken. But let's just say it's like a top 5 hero in my opinion. If you pick Bran with the right minion setup, I think it's one of the 5 best heroes in the game. So
that's a
so something that is important with Bran is you do want 4 minions, I think, on tier 1 that have a battle cry just to make it feels like that's a sweet spot for me. With that makes it incredibly likely that you're going to hit the Bran in time, because you essentially want to hit Bran on either turn 3 or turn 4 sort of at the latest, where that's where you can pop off with the quest. And yeah, you want to hold as many battle cry minions in your hand as possible, especially Cat and the Naga that generates coins, because that is so nutty for put cards in hand quests. Same with the Gem Quillbore, summon minions with a cat. That's 3 minions every time. So there's there's so much cool shit you can do with Brand. But I do see a lot of Brands on turn 3, fucking 5, like 5 minions on their board where they just jam their cat and whatever, and I'm just sitting there like, what the hell are you doing? And then yeah, obviously you're not going to get that big of a spike, and then you're just going to do okay-ish. I think Scabs is also really underrated if you're looking at
scabs. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Scabs to me functions very much like a Brand in the way how you navigate the early game, where Scabs for me is also just load up on a bunch of cards and then just absolutely destroy the quest turn. Like the amount of times I've completed a quest either in 2 turns or in the same turn when I played Scabs is so high
With
because
scabs, interesting. Okay.
yeah. But I mean, look at it this way, where on the turn you get the quest, you can then also steal a minion and you'll know what you'll be looking for. So like battle cries. Scabs is a killer when it comes to battle cry. Same as Bran, of course. But I'd say Scabs is maybe even slightly better at completing that quest just because you have a mechanism as a hero power that allows you to really focus on that. So a lot of the times, obviously, after you get your Bran, the Bran likes the battle cries more. But before you get the Bran, the Scabs is slightly better even at accumulating battle cries. So usually when I get a battle cry quest, I'm just slam dunking it on Scabs, where you just get like the treasure vault in the same turn or something like that. So
Treasure
yeah,
vault,
there's some
same turn with
yeah, you can
scabs.
do
Like
that.
that sounds so broken. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Because you can what you can also do is while you're completing your quest, sometimes you would maybe not buy an extra minion from the shop because it might switch your curve. But if you can do a treasure vault on 1 turn, you'd be like, fuck the curve, right? I'll double level on 7 gold. It's fine. I can afford it.
Yeah.
Whereas normally with scabs, you'd be like, no, I got a level here in hero power, buy a minion. But you'd be like, no, I'll just buy an extra minion from the shop to complete the quest here. But there we go. Sometimes, of course, you brick, right? And it's like, I'm gonna have to go with the have X amount of friendly minions die, and the things that you held in your hand, they don't matter. But that's, to me, that's a price I'm willing to pay, because then I can still just play scabs after that. I can still just steal shit from people, which is still good. So I think again here that's probably maybe a mismanagement of how you can really pop off on a quest turn.
Yeah. That's that was very detailed, I would say.
Well, you asked if I felt like there's something that's underrated,
Yeah.
and yeah, of course, you're gonna get
Yeah.
some
But
passion.
yeah. I
I
think
think
you
a lot of yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say I think Eudora maybe like it has 10 armor. Like I think anytime you have a hero with 10 armor, it should be respectable. But Eudora is like a weird one where you can like throw the game yourself, and like you can, so I can see how people are dying with the hero, but like you could just like not focus on that, like like take it slower and focus on your quest, and then like maybe you get your thing a turn later that if you have to, like if it doesn't make sense to force, right? Like and another thing,
Yeah,
like the normal curve of Eudora, you don't buy minions, right? So
that's the
uh
big issue. Yeah, it's hard to. But the thing with Eudora is, like you mentioned, you can adjust.
hmm
So
yeah,
you
that's what I'm
don't.
saying. Like I think
Yeah,
people are not adjusting, and that's why they're losing.
exactly. They're
Where
just like, I'm heading for that wall, and I'm hoping
uh,
that the wall moves, because man, it's gonna hurt when I hit that wall. It's
yeah,
like, have you thought about maybe, I don't know, not leveling this turn? Like, nah, that's crazy, man. I'm pretty sure the wall's gonna move. It's like, I got a top 8. What happened?
what happened?
I didn't complete my quest for like 4 turns because it was gonna level dig, level dig, level dig.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
yeah,
So that one I think could be like it's maybe undervalued if people played it better. Like obviously if you're lucky you can hit the nuts. I hit this oh god, I don't want to talk about I hit the stupidest game. I Eudored into what was it? Gold Grubber into Elise. I was just
oh,
like
oh my god.
I was
Wait,
just
Gold
like
Rubber into Elise.
yeah.
Oh, Eliza.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
Eliza. Yeah,
okay,
into
okay,
Eliza.
okay.
Yeah, Gold Grover into Eliza. Yeah. That's
Right,
what I meant.
right.
Golden Gold Grover into Eliza. I was like, oh,
Did you hold for a turn, or or did you? Oh no, you went for the 6-drop curve and it
yeah,
just. Oh wow, yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah. I was just like,
wow, that's
yeah,
nasty.
it wasn't. Yeah, it was not fair. It was like turn 7.
Yeah. Yeah, when you play Eudora, as I would say, if you're a Eudora main, you never expect to get anything useful.
Yeah. No, this was a high roll. I was like
Yeah, because
not
you
fair.
just you treat it as a thing that gives you a triple and then maybe some slight tempo. But I
hmm
do feel like more people that pick Eudora, they get a golden one drop or so, and they're just outraged. They just
Yeah,
can't believe
they're like,
how
I
lucky
can't
they just
believe
got.
this.
And
I'm.
it's like, guys, if you pick Eudora, you can't expect your golden minion to do anything but to give you a triple. Like
Mhm.
that's its job. That's what it's gonna do. And then sometimes, hey, if you high roll, we take those. But like if you can't win with Eudora when you don't get a golden grubber or something, then you probably shouldn't pick Eudora, because there's gonna be a lot of disappointment ahead. Oh, something else. Did you notice? So first of all, did you know that Panda's hero power was a bit sketchy in that the quest difficulty depended on which hero power you rolled the turn before?
No, I didn't know that. I haven't played Panda
Right.
in a while,
But
but
they fixed that, so you haven't
that's
missed out on.
unfortunate. No,
Right.
I've
Yeah.
really missed a window of abusing
Yeah.
here.
You missed the window
That
for
that
sure.
actually makes sense
It was so
because
broken.
no,
Yeah.
because when when like in the very beginning, Panda has always had 0 armor, but like had a huge win rate for some reason. Like just
Yeah.
had it insane, and I was like, why is Panda so good? With 0 armor, like he should be struggling. That explains it so much,
You
and like
just
people are
choosing
just like,
quests left
yeah.
and right. I
Ah,
remember like slamming Syndragosa on that turn so often, like, yes, Jiraxis, baby.
you knew about it, okay? You didn't
I
tell me.
knew
You
about it.
didn't tell me. I can't believe this. But yeah, that explains it. I was like, why is he so good in the stats? People were
Yeah.
abusing it.
And now it's fixed. It
Now
feels
it's
like.
fixed. Okay.
I don't think I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any patch notes about it, but I've just picked him like twice or 3 times. I've heard reports of other people saying the same thing, where I just like, I pick it, I get like this super trash armor hero power, and then I get this like most impossible quest. I'm like, there's no fucking way, right? There's no way this is a 9 armor quest.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
see. I see it. You see,
JJ mentioned that Lich is his favorite hero right now.
these
Get
people
out,
have some
get
secret
out,
strats
JJ.
that they're not
I hate
talking about.
Lich.
Lich Bazal or Lich King?
Lich Bazal
Lich
is his
Bazal.
goal. Yeah.
That's just a hero you could just die with, but you can also win with. Like you're a turn ahead of everyone, so
I think if you know what you're doing, the hero is really strong. Yeah, because I play her too, of course, and just the knowledge of like, I don't have to tap. Like that's just like, oh, okay. Because even like, let's say you play just like a normal curve on her, where you level on turn 1 and then you double by turn 2 and then you still go 3-on-3. You're still going 3-on-3, but you just have 2 extra minions on your board.
okay.
Like even if you would probably tap again
Yeah,
at some point, but even if you were to never tap again, that only cost you 8 health, and you were able to still go 3-on-3 with 2 extra minions. And then of course there's like Rush 3, and then when demons are in, you find a Morganis, and yeah.
I wanted
It's
to say, oh, she has the highest eighth place percentage
oh, but
among top
who
heroes, but then no, it's not true. You
who took the crown?
there's two that pass her, and I think you can guess. The second one is not that easily guessable, but like you're like, oh, that would probably make sense. But one I think you could easily guess. The one's like,
I mean Galliwix?
yes. Yeah.
What else is all or nothing, Chad? No.
The other one I don't think is all or nothing, but maybe the way people play it.
Right. All right.
Second one is Surge and Natrius, right?
Oh no, that makes sense.
That makes sense to you, okay?
Yeah. Shit quest top 8 for sure.
and Reno. Okay, Reno is all or nothing.
This also makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't think you should be top 8ing with Reno, but I think that the way
people play it, yeah, it makes sense that people top 8.
You just gotta, again, right? You kind of need to see the wall coming and then like not drive straight.
And to be fair, all those heroes are super popular, so it means that you have a large variety of people playing it. So it's not always like the skill people or the
71% pick rate on the Nathers is insane. I rarely pick this hero. Like my skip rate is probably higher than 70%.
The reason why it's so picked is the potential. Like there are games that are so free where it's just like I just won the game. It's so free.
You no longer have anima bribe, so you don't.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. So that's a very
roll the Uber, but I mean, you can still roll some disgusting stuff, of course. And I think probably my most outrageous Sire game is where I needed to float gold 3 or 4 times for stolen gold. We're going to assume 4 times because 3 would be outrageous, but that's still stupid. Yeah, I needed to float gold like 3 or 4 times to get stolen gold. Because in the early game, you don't give a shit, right? You just reform curve. So you're like float, wee, stolen gold.
I'd love to see stolen gold and golden hammer. You're just like
golden everything.
Yeah, golden everything.
All right. Yeah, no, that was crazy. Yeah. You play some Phelan from time to time.
I do.
I don't think I've picked Phelan in this meta. Just always feels so intimidated. Do you actually push 6 in a good amount of the games or not really?
Come on, you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, sure. Do you survive a good amount of the games where you're pushing 6?
Oh,
sorry, that's not bad. That question was disrespectful.
So I would say you kind of know if you're going to do that turn 1, right? Like you look at your options and like, does this worth it? So there are definitely some games where I don't go 6. Right, so that is true. It's not always going 6, but usually what that means is that the quest was enough of a deterrent, right? It's more like, oh, going 6 doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit like the
mask
quest
or something. Maybe you just gotta buy shit to activate it.
So I definitely think it's not like I have to go 6 or get a 6 every game, but there are some quests where it's like easy to get 6 and then you're playing 6, or the 6 shop is good enough that it's your direction and then you play 6. But yeah, you don't actually have to, or I don't see myself going 6 every time I play Phelan, which is a bit surprising because like that, if that felt like the reason you picked Phelan, free 6, but
yeah, it's why I've been a little.
Sometimes the 4s are like enough. Like the 4 drop is enough where it's like, okay, I got the 4 I wanted, and it's good enough to with the quest that it's fine. So and then Red Hand, like if you could trigger that, is so stupid. Like, but that's like a
wait. Why is that stupid? I thought it was bad because your dormant minions steal it.
Yeah, but like, okay, you level to 6, you play a play a 30/30. It's like, oh, I'm fine. You don't have to hold cards in your hand.
I'm leveling. Okay, yeah. That's fair. So I thought of that as a deterrent, but you're saying no. Red Hat is the nuts on Phelan.
Yeah, it's great because you just level and you play like a 20/20, and then you can level again and you play another like a 40/40. Like, and you don't have to hold any minions. You just play on curve and it's perfectly fine. So I actually like it. You do have to be able to trigger it early, right? Like, so like that's 1 turn, 2 turn trigger with Red Hand, but You know, like
Oh,
if it makes sense, I like
yeah,
it.
yeah, no, that makes complete sense. All right, maybe something to try. Probably not in Mobile Legends, but
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Maybe
give
not
it
a
a
lot of legends.
give it a spin. We got a comment in the chat saying that the best composition for every hero should be Murlocs. You wanna talk
No.
about that? Yeah, because I think this is a common view that is held, at least if you browse Reddit, where people are like, oh, Murlocs are breaking the game and Murlocs are OP and Murlocs win every lobby. And I think that is more true at the lower
Highest.
ranks because you have more time. But in
I see what
reality,
you're
Murlocs
saying.
are actually really
Yeah,
fragile.
yeah. If you were to tell me, oh, what's the best comp for every hero, I would actually say Max. I wouldn't say
That's
Murlocs
the
at
best
all.
comp to gain MMR, yeah, Max.
Yeah,
Max.
but
Not even Max, just like Deflectobot and a reset.
yeah,
And
the Max is Deflectobot is what I
yeah.
mean.
Which is funny because at lower rank maybe that doesn't really matter because the games are slower paced, so you're deflecto them. But
It's yeah,
yeah, even then, even in slower games, deflecto, you just have more
it
time
just
to make good
kills.
deflecto.
Yeah,
So yeah. No, I think this is I can understand it because when you think about it in a vacuum, yeah, assuming I think most people when they think about Murlocs are like, well, I will find a brand, right? Right? And I was like, well, no. A lot of your games, if you're pushing Murlocs, you're not going to play it with a brand. But yeah, even with a brand, they are vulnerable to getting poisoned themselves or to getting farmed by divine shields. So I think if you're just playing big Murlocs, you got to do a proper high roll where you really
another issue is like the meta has changed. How powerful Murlocs are with the addition with like ball of minions. Like you can like contest with pirates, you can contest with elementals. You like just because you have a good Murloc board doesn't mean you auto win. Because like let's say someone's playing Nobis and they just have like double like triple
yeah. No, I'd say even
wildfire
that
stuff like that.
I think it's more like a problem when people are high rolling Murlocs because they make their boards actively worse because they don't have queen on their board or anything because they just want to jam more stats. I'm like, yeah, you're huge, but if the opponent has two queens and you're too busy having fun with Bran and young
Yeah, I see what
Makai,
you're saying. Yeah,
you
yeah.
get farmed.
I think
Yeah.
it's very easy to die like
Yeah,
with Murlocs where
I kill so many big Murloc boards myself when I just see like, man, you just needed to not put an extra 80/80 on your guys this turn, and you needed to roll for a selfless.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's hard to sell your golden
It's too
mirror.
fun to play Brand Murlocs and deviate. Like you're rolling to a Burgurgle. Like how many people are like, you know what, I'm not taking that, and then you roll into another Burgurgle. You're like, I skipped the first. What's the second one I'm gonna take? You know, it's a bit hard. So sometimes it's like, okay, sell the brand's out, selfless bear. Like I'm rolling. I don't care. Skip seer, skip stuff. You take the lookout, you know. But if you don't have a brand, then it's like, do I even take the lookout? Right? Like how you can't really skip lookout, right? Like you know what I mean? Like, but if
Yeah,
you
no,
don't have a brand,
buy Lookout
if
because
you
I
don't have a brand, right? Like you get
Mm.
in and like, oh, you have to hit Tad, or you're losing gold. So technically, if you need to hit the
Well,
selfless,
you're generally still looking for talk spins.
well,
So
no,
if you're
like
playing
theoretically, everything's poison, right? Like,
well, okay, so if everything is poison, it depends what kind of lobby we're playing in.
I,
But if you're not playing with Bran, I'm guessing that you're not big enough
I,
for stats to matter
well,
anyway.
yeah,
Right? So
I'm thinking like it's late game. You need a seer, right? Or you need a selfless baron. You know that kind of composition,
selfless
maybe,
Baron or Leroy, right?
or
You just
Leroy,
want
yeah, blah blah blah.
you want
Yeah,
your
but
buff slot. So it's
you
yeah.
don't have brand and you roll a lookout, right? Like how many people skip that? Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, when you're so you
I
have to
don't
ask
skip
yourself,
that.
do you have ponchos on your board and are mechs or beasts in? Because when mechs and beasts are in and you can check your opponents and there's one or more opponents that are doing some kind of token
you're
shenanigans.
making it specific. I'm just saying
I
like
I am making it specific because I think you're pointing out to a specific scenario, right? Where if you have honchos on your board, which you
sure,
usually do,
sure.
and you are skipping Primal Fin, I think that is in a no beast, no mech lobby because you're just not caring about stats at all.
My point is how likely do you ignore Murloc stuff? Like it's not the certain
Yeah,
area is like
no. That
it's
is
so hard
yeah.
to do that. You know what I mean?
Well,
You want to
it's
buy
not
the
hard when
burger.
you're used to it, but yes, it's almost unthinkable for someone, especially with Bran on the board. I think with Bran
If you
on the
have
board,
Brand, then you're making money. So it doesn't make
well,
sense.
no, we're talking Seer, we're talking Begurgle. So I think
Okay,
it's very,
sure.
very difficult for people to skip a Begurgle when they have a Brand and it's so juicy and there's so
Yeah.
many stats. But then you got to understand when stats matter and when they don't. And oftentimes, past a certain number, stats just don't matter. Like if you're top dog in the lobby, you have to understand that other people are going to try to scam you, and you don't beat that by just buying more Begurgles.
If you
beat that
watch
with
Lobby Legends,
faster.
though, you'll realize stats do matter.
Yeah, no, there were a lot of no Murloc games in Lobby Legends, so those are crazy. That's
Well,
a
no, there
stat.
was that one Murloc game where he died to the gas curler reborn because he didn't have enough stats.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good.
It did matter. It
thing to
did
point
matter.
out.
He thought it didn't matter, but little did he know. Kurtrus is broken with gas curler reborn. Like,
No, for sure. Yeah. So we see Togwaggle in like position 1 with a good pick rate, I'd say. It's funny because like Togwaggle is also one of my better heroes. But then I was in XQN's chat and he's like, "Ooh, I really think Togwaggle's trash. Like, I don't want to pick him." So.
yes, well, good players can have different opinions.
Absolutely no, but
wow.
it's cool to see that. It's cool to see that divide where, and I'll probably have that with some heroes too. Some heroes that are probably more
we have that all the time, Shady. I don't like you should know this, but
Kurtrus is great. You're just
Kurtrus is horrible. It's not horrible actually, but it's not as good as he's making it out to be. That's all I want.
All right, chat. Any Kurt enjoyers, or am I alone here? Because this is I just keep playing Kurt after Kurt after Kurt, and I'm just like, these games are so good. I love this hero. It's so much fun. I just love that I love the treasure thing where you get an extra gold because that
hidden treasure vault.
Yeah, because you play Kurt and you dump all your gold early to get strong, and also activate the vault, and then the vault just carries your late.
Carries you back. Yeah.
I just have multiple Kurt games like that where.
But that's more of a hidden treasure vault than a vault called.
But you can substitute that with other stuff, right? Like for instance, Mask is similar in that you're going to be strong early because this is kind of what if Kurt doesn't want to lose early, Kurt is not going to lose early. Like if you are just going like, well, proc my hero power, what am I doing this turn? Proc my hero power, what am I doing next turn? Proc my hero power, baby. So you're just getting so strong over those turns where everything is getting buffed and you're getting this advantage. And normally if we're playing outside of the quest meta, the problem there is that you just spent you just spent 3 turns buying minions, and what do you do now?
You die.
But the answer in the quest meta is now I play my broken quest. So now I have like Fort with Mask, and I have that because I just spent a lot of gold buying and selling minions. And normally when you do that, you buy a lot of shitty minions, you're going to take a lot of damage, but then Kurt is not taking a lot of damage. So I love that dynamic where you can pick a greedy quest on Kurt and then also carry your early game due to the way how his hero power works. And the requirement for the hero power basically states complete your quest faster, right? It's like buy and sell a lot of minions. That's essentially saying complete your quest faster. So
results may vary, but I hear
results may vary, of course. No, I think if you're not good at playing Kurt, it's very easy to make mistakes and then be like, man, this hero didn't do anything. Because I think one of the best things is to activate your hero power before 7 gold. Like if you can do it on 6 gold, it's so nice. But I see so many people on Kurt kind of just going.
They go to 8 and then they trigger it on 8.
They go to 8 and then they go the first time, and then on 9 they do the other one, and then you're just always behind. So I love getting the first one out of the way on 6 gold, and then potentially on 8 gold doing the second one already, and then you're just so far ahead.
Makes sense. Kurt tips with shady money.
Well,
every
it's fun
week
to talk about heroes. I'm passionate about it. I just think he's good. I love playing him.
Yeah.
That's sort of it for me. I don't think I have anything else left that I want to talk about. If there's anything you wanted to look at.
Apparently Nas is quite good for some reason.
Yeah, that does surprise me a bit because I don't
see why I agree. I don't see why Nas is good. Like I don't. You can tell me, I guess you can trigger your quests and you can pick specific minion types.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be it. Where you do have that advantage that on 7 gold, if you're following a normal curve, you can buy a 3-drop, so that's kind of nice. And you do get that extra reroll where if you don't hit for your quest, you can try another one.
And it's easier to start with token. I mean, but like, is that enough of a? Oh yeah, I'm top 5 here in the game. Like I don't. Wouldn't say so. But
What
that's
armor
what.
tier are we talking for Nas? That's also pretty important.
So if
Tier
you put
3.
it if you put top 5%, she drops like a rock. Okay, so maybe there's some very
Mhm.
specific Nas aficionados that are like quite good, but at 1%, where the average is not as.
Well, we know the more options you throw at people, the worse it gets, the lower MMR you go.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
we're going from top 1 to top 5, right? It's not
sorry?
that many people we're adding in. It's still like relatively good players.
Well,
Uh,
no, I mean the difference between
I know
what,
it's huge, but like
yeah,
it's
it's a chasm.
they're still relatively good comparatively to the
Yeah, of
rest.
course, but
Yeah,
there's a chasm.
yeah, sure, fine. I mean, I don't even think top 1% is like a good representation of like high level. You need like top like 0, 0, 1 or
Yeah, it'd be
something.
fun to see like 13K and up.
Yeah,
Basically, like it'd be fun to see front page. That
only front page. Yeah,
would be.
I actually wouldn't mind that. Like I'll
I
just
would pay good money for that shit.
an
That's
extra
for the front
just
page.
point praise. The
Uh,
problem is like the number of games gets very skewed, right? And
yeah, yeah,
you'll have like
the sample size is
yeah,
very
you'll have
small.
like one guy play his Kurtrus and then he wins and then that's you're
Yeah,
like Kurtrus is the best hero. Like, it's like
there's like a.
who
It's,
this guy played 3 Kurtrus games and did well and he's down.
it's more like a novelty thing. Also, the placements will be insane, right? You'll
Right.
see so many top 1%
Oh,
because
yeah.
when you look at front page players, their average placement rate is going to be like 2 point something, maybe,
It's 2 to
or maybe
3.
even
Like 2.8 to 3, like maybe
if I
like the
yeah.
highest is like 2.6 or
So
something.
if I go to my stats, I'm currently 2.6 on average placement, but I did tank that top
Over the
8 in
week,
there. That's last 30 days, I think.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Current patch it's 2.5. So but but you
so it's
have to do
even
that, right?
better than
Like
like
you're not
maybe
on.
like 2.3,
Sorry?
2.4. Like but you're like right at the top, so it's probably just
I'm
around
ranked 10
there.
right now, but
Yeah.
anyways, the point is that the first place ratio for a front page player has to be nutty because you're not on the front page if you don't get a lot of first places. Because I mean, you lose points for third sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying like you see the stats at the right, it's just gonna look super awkward.
Yeah,
Where
like the graphs are
the
nothing like
graphs are
what you
not gonna
see
be
now.
clean looking at all. Yeah.
You're just looking at it like, where are all these eighth places going? It's like, yeah, this is that's for the next demographic.
That's hilarious, right? Like if you did like a 13K up, and there's just like there's some heroes with like no eights, like just
Yeah, there's like no
like just
eighths.
no
It's like,
eights.
well, yeah, I think
This hero
there's
doesn't get eighth if you're good. Like
you just don't eighth.
I could definitely see that. It'd be a bit weird.
Uh,
I can see why the stats
anyways,
would look so awkward if you actually. But I still want to see it. But like
yeah, no, I think we can maybe do
we could
something.
analyze it correctly, I think.
Like
But
we, it'd be fun if we can maybe do that where we can start throwing our stats and then we can ask other high level players if they want to throw their stats in the mix, and
that's
we could have something that is not really useful in terms of just empirical data, but fun to look at. It novelty, if you will,
we
just
could
novelty
ask. I mean,
value.
they have the stats. We could ask HS Replay like, hey, can
Right?
you make
Can
something
we
for us? just
just give
just
me your give me the stats of
just give me these
all the
stats.
high level players. That sounds cool. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna sign off, Collins. I'm gonna go get some rest.
Okay,
Got to
sign
get
off
some
then.
sun. All right. Signing off.
That's not how I do it, Shady.
That's not a proper sign off.
That's not
All
it.
right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This was the 81st episodes of the HSBG podcast. You guys know where to find us. Just contact us. Well, I was gonna say on Twitter, but there's some ambiguity about that right now. I don't know if that's gonna be the place to contact us much longer. But
I'd be shocked
But
if things happen to Twitter. Like even
yeah, no, it'd be
like
but
how negligent can you be? Like like yeah.
that's the meme right now that's going on. So, anyways, contact us on Twitch, Twitter, or send an email. What do we have right now for the email calls?
HSBG Podcast at gmail.com.
Gmail. All right. All
Whatever.
right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week.